I had to tell myself I could never say I'll never. I still to this day don't say I'll never get high again. I say not today. Because if I take away that and it puts limits on myself, then I get rebellious or I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah.
So I have to say not today, and I just continue to do that.
Nobody is too far gone. I believe that anyone can recover. Now there's a process and it's not going to be easy and it's fucking hard. But if you keep going and you stay the course, recovery is absolutely possible.
I believe it was my faith, to be honest. I started going to a church. I started doing Bible studies. I didn't force myself to go anywhere, but I opened myself up to say, okay, maybe I'm here for a reason. I'm going to walk with you for a while.
So you experienced childhood trauma, abuse, rape, addiction, homelessness, problems with law, losing your kids, almost losing everything. How did you not break?
After multiple suicide attempts, and I was not successful, I started thinking that maybe this was something that was out of my control. I started thinking that maybe there was a reason that I was not successful. So I just kept trying different things.
Didn't give up.
No.
You've shared a bit that faith has a strong place in your story. Where did that start for you?
So I was raised in a very strict religious home, which is part of the reason I left at the age of 12. So I did not have my own experience until a failed suicide attempt. Woke up the next morning, there was a piece of paper that had like old-fashioned typewriter print on it that said Matthew 25:35. And if anyone reads their Bible, that's where he talks about when you came to visit me in prison, when I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. And people are questioning Jesus, saying, well, when did we ever do this? We never saw you like that. And he said, when you did it for the least of my people, you did it for me. So that hit me as far as the love that we're supposed to show for each other. And that even if I didn't have any great success stories at the moment, I did have love still, regardless of everything I had went through. Wow. So I just continued and just kept loving on people.
So that was kind of like a reminder for you.
Because I prayed. I said, why can't I do this? Why am I still here? After an unsuccessful suicide attempt, what do you want me here for? It was, on your hands and knees, sobbing and praying. Why am I here? What am I supposed to do?
At your lowest.
Yeah.
Let's backtrack. You said you grew up in a religious household. That was kind of part of the reason you chose to leave home so young. What was that decision like? And then what was the aftermath of leaving home at such a young age?
I lived in a very small town, very religious, wasn't able to associate with anybody that wasn't of the same faith, which there was no one my age. We lived an hour from a courthouse. I was in a small town, so I continually went to the courthouse just to document myself as a runaway so that they would take me out of the home.
Whoa.
I wanted to see the big, wide world. However, I felt like a spring, and I bounced everywhere. And from a small town, you love on everybody. You just high.
Yeah.
I did that with the wrong people. I was brutally raped by a gentleman that worked in a labor camp when I had my first experience outside of home. So I befriended the wrong people. I didn't have that street smarts, And I look at my granddaughter, who's now 17, and when she was 12, I can't even imagine the fear that my mom had.
Yeah.
My mom never abused me. My parents were good parents. They did the best they could do, but I just had to go out into the world and see what it was like.
There was something there that 12 years old. Yeah. And you shared that you ended up in foster homes as a result of that?
Yes. Yeah, they had to not emancipate me, but the state parents didn't want me back in their home, but I was still a minor.
Right.
So they had to put me somewhere. So I went to evaluation homes, foster homes, group homes.
Yeah.
Until I finally ran away for good to California.
And you were like, peace, I'm out of here. Yeah, for anyone that's never been in a group home, it'll make you want to run away. Yeah, those places aren't, I grew up in foster care and group homes as well, and it's not like those places aren't great.
No.
Now, not to say that a lot of the people that work in those environments, or a lot of those foster parents aren't well-meaning, wonderful people, but there's also a lot of
Bad stuff that goes
bad
on.
stuff that goes on there, and that just can sometimes make things even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you run off to California. What was the plan?
I met
Just
a
to leave?
guy and ran to California and got
Mm.
pregnant.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I said, what's the plan? I'm sure that wasn't the plan.
I didn't really have a plan at that time. I mean, I knew I wanted to live. But again, loving the wrong person, getting pregnant, having a child at 17.
Oof. Sure changes everything.
I felt like a tumbleweed. I kind of just rolled
Yeah.
into whatever. But I just knew that suicide wasn't an answer anymore. So that scripture stopped that
Yeah.
for the time being.
Okay. But then you found drugs.
Yes. At 17, I started working at a strip club, and my first introduction to that was it was wrapped up in my tip. And I
Okay.
took it back to the dressing room and was like, oh,
Oh, look at this little
let's try this.
surprise.
Yeah. And I was reckless. I didn't care what happened to me still. Like, I didn't want to die, and I wasn't going to intentionally
Right.
kill myself, but I wasn't afraid
Yeah.
to try something that I didn't know anything about.
It's such an interesting place that I feel like a lot of people who struggle with addiction and mental health relate to that. But speaking to somebody that's never felt that way, it is like a pretty surreal feeling of, sure, maybe like I'm not going to actively try to end my life.
Right.
And maybe like I don't really want to die, but I'm going to run through life with complete reckless abandon to myself and my well-being.
Yes.
And it's like, well, how could those two things be true at the same time? You want to live, but you're living like you want to die.
Yeah.
And it's like this conflict and this internal chaos.
Yes. Well, that's exactly how to describe it, because I didn't know. I'm glad that fentanyl wasn't around then, because who knows where I'd be. But
I say that all the time. You know, I was a hardcore heroin, shooting up heroin strung out 7 grams a day habit. And I barely missed the fentanyl thing. And I for sure would be dead.
yeah.
I mean, I've seen it take out everyone.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm so grateful that, you know, I found recovery when I did too, because yeah, when you're in that mindset, you're not thinking about,
Yeah.
you don't care.
You don't
You
even
just don't
think.
care. You don't think.
Yeah.
You just do. You know, and it's like a tornado, and it's like, well, there's no real rhyme or reason why a tornado goes this way and then hits that house, but not this house. And it's like, yeah, well, a tornado doesn't think, and come to find out, neither does a drug addict
Right.
in the depths of their addiction.
Yeah.
So you find this little surprise working as a stripper at 17, which
Is
I
it
don't,
legal?
I don't know what the legality is, but
It
I'm
was
pretty
illegal.
sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not legal. And then was that the first time you'd ever used?
Yes. And I liked the energy that it gave me. I worked long nights, and it kind of numbed me from emotion.
Yeah.
So I could just kick ass and take names and make money.
Yeah.
Without having to think about it.
Yeah. A lot of people describe like the first time drinking or using as like a relief,
Yeah.
like a heaviness that was lifted. You know, you talked about leaving home and running away to California and not really having a plan, but you just needed to go, you know? And I think that for a lot of us, it's like the first time you use, it's like, finally, I found something.
That I know how it's going to make me feel.
Yeah.
I
And it
can
works
count on it. Yeah.
every time.
Yep.
Even past the point of my life is now falling apart because of these drugs, like it still works. The drugs still do the trick.
Yep.
You know, and it's an interesting.
It's a love-hate relationship.
It sure is. It sure is. So you start using, you love it immediately, and thus begins your addiction.
Yes, it became more than just for work. It was in the morning. It was all the time. And then I got pregnant, and I had so I didn't use during my pregnancies. I was smart enough to stop that, but I picked up very shortly after. my grandmother picked up the responsibility of taking care of my son at that age. I remember giving birth, and the night I got home from the hospital, the baby's father and one of my family members and I went and got a hotel and just did a bunch of cocaine. Left my brand new baby with my mom or my grandma. So I didn't have any responsibility still.
Wow. Yeah, I'm obviously have never been a mother or given birth, but I am a father and I do have kids. And it always amazes me when somebody, a woman who is in the depths of their addiction, gets pregnant and can turn it off for that pregnancy. And then as soon as they give birth, bam, turn it back on. I'm like, wow, I wish I had any discipline to do that. And it's like, wow. So you can stop, but it wasn't really, you weren't ever really committing to stopping. It was more of like a temporary break. Yeah.
It made me question whether I was an addict for a long time.
I'm sure. Because you're like,
maybe I'm not an addict.
Yeah, oh, I could stop. I go to these meetings and everyone talks about I couldn't stop no matter what. And you're like, well, I did.
Yeah.
But you
then
didn't.
I picked back up.
You didn't really stop. It was like a temporary hiatus. It was like a leave of absence.
Yeah.
So you pick up, did you lose your
No, I didn't lose my son yet. I left that relationship. It was a very physically abusive relationship. And I moved in with my grandma. Then I met another person and had 2 children.
Okay.
Stopped during pregnancy.
Again.
Picked up again.
Damn. Like a professional at this point.
Yeah. And then that went south. Left that relationship. Dated a local drug dealer. That actually put me at risk, and I lost my kids. My ex-husband took my kids and moved away with them. Dating somebody in the community in that aspect put my life at danger, so I didn't even try to go after my kids. I said, just take them, be safe, and got together with another gentleman who introduced me to the needle. At that point, my kids were gone. I was, used to being team mom for their baseball team.
Right.
Even though I was high, I had all this energy. I could still do everything.
Right.
But I could not get rid of the desperation of not having my kids, and everyone had told me how great that was, that experience. And so I said, I want to try it. So then I ended up meeting a guy. He showed me how to do that, had another child with him, had to leave that relationship as well. So,
wow.
I lost my kids eventually.
Yeah, it's like you were able to, even though you're still getting high, you were able to like hold things together because you had your kids and you had to be there for them. And then as soon as you didn't have that responsibility anymore, it was like, okay, well,
it's whatever goes.
I no longer have that thing that's kind of my guardrails that are keeping me in line right now. And now it's like really spiraling out of control, and you shoot up for the first time and then decide to have another kid with him. So at the very least, your picker maybe.
My picker was broken for sure.
Your picker was not serving you well.
Yeah.
So you have another kid, and now you're shooting up.
Moved away to Oregon from here.
Okay.
And got sober during my pregnancy, of course.
Yep.
And then I want to say 2 or 3 months after he was born, I was putting things away, and I came across some dope that I forgot I had. And I was off and running again.
Damn.
I didn't lose that child, but was making some really bad choices, having my kid around some really bad people.
Yeah, it's always you find some dope when you're ready to get sober.
Oh yeah, and everyone wants to give it to you for free.
And it's like everyone's like, hey, you want some free dope? And it's like, where were you like a year ago?
Right.
I never found dope when I really wanted it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I don't want it. Oh, what's this?
Yeah.
And it's like, so relapse, back off and running.
Yeah.
But now you're in a new place.
Yep.
New environment. Moved away, try to get a fresh start.
Geographics don't matter.
Yeah. Everywhere you go, there you are.
There I am. So at that point, I was about to go into treatment, and I talked to my aunt who worked at a treatment center in Oregon, and she suggested I come and live with her and do 90 meetings in 90 days, which I ended up doing every day for a year.
90 and 90.
Got
and you
my
were like,
year sober.
going every day.
Yeah.
For a year.
For a year. A year
Wow.
to the date, I relapsed.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my first round
Right.
of recovery. And then, got back into recovery. I didn't stay out for too long that time. And two of my daughters had come back.
Okay.
They were in their 15, 16. I became a grandma. So I straightened up for a little bit before that. And then I continued to use.
Damn.
My daughter got really heavy into drugs. My son-in-law committed suicide on drugs. So she's now raising 3 kids on her own. And then I finally cleaned up. It'll be 13 years in August. And my daughter has a year longer than me.
Wow.
So it took a lot from me.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like addiction literally touched every part of your life, including your kids. Your daughter was struggling with addiction at the same time you were?
Yes, only she was very bold and loud about hers. At that point, I was trying to hold on to my youngest son, keep custody of my granddaughter, so I kept mine kind of on the low. I didn't go out all night, leave my kids everywhere, but I still needed it to get by every day.
Yeah.
So I still wasn't ready to give it up.
Were you using with her?
Yes, I did twice. One time I didn't know she was in the room, and I had my own friends over, and she came over, and as the circle goes, you look across the room and there's your kid, and I'm like, oh,
fuck.
All right, whatever. I am who I am is what I thought at the time. I was like, I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not. This is something I enjoy doing. This is something I've done my whole life. I never even thought about quitting for the longest time.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know how much damage that does, but our kids see and they do what we do.
Yeah, I mean, I could just share with you. I had a similar experience, not with my kids. I mean, my kids are so young.
Right.
However, like my birth mom was a hardcore drug addict. She lost us. I grew up in foster care, was later adopted, great family, then started struggling with my own addictions. And then when I was like 20 or something, around that age, was like selling dope, shooting dope in the depths of my addiction. And my birth mother had reached out, and I hadn't seen her since I was a child. And I harbored all this resentment and blamed her for all my problems in life. And she reached out and she wanted to meet. And so I ended up driving and picking her up from wherever she was at to I guess reconnect or something. And as soon as she hopped in the car, she was like, I heard that you sell dope. And I was like, yeah. And I'm 20 in the depths of my despair. And she's like, can I buy some? So I sell her dope. And then her and I used together in that car. And then I dropped her off. And we didn't reconnect or anything. We just got high and then I dropped her off. I remember driving home from that feeling fucking disgusting. Just myself, in myself, thinking, being able to watch her struggle, lose me, all the problems that came with that. Me saying, I'm never going to be like that. And then me being like that. And then reconnecting. And then the first time we reconnect, we get high together. And I remember feeling disgusting. Obviously, that didn't change anything at the time. It took a lot more, but I remember it. And I mean, that's something that still sticks with me today.
Yeah.
Is that experience. And since then, I've been able to process that and whatnot. But addiction
does not discriminate.
It doesn't. And it blurs lines, man. And it crosses boundaries you never thought you'd cross. And it has you doing things, again, you're not thinking. There's no thoughts involved in that.
Right.
Until usually much later or by the time you get sober. And then it's like, oh, shit, now I have to think about all that happened and took place in that. And that's part of the cleaning up the wreckage of our past, you know? So you eventually get sober because now you're coming up on 13 years. Yes. Congratulations. Fucking unbelievable. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I remember going to NA meetings in the beginning and just hearing somebody get 30 days was like, oh my God, I would love to get,
Yeah.
And then a year, and then I just didn't think it would stick ever, to be honest. But I believe it was my faith, to be honest. I started going to a church. I started doing Bible studies. I didn't force myself to go anywhere. But I opened myself up to say, okay, maybe I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk with you for a while because my way is not working. And I had to tell myself, I could never say I'll never. I still to this day don't say I'll never get high again. I say not today. Because if I take away that and it puts limits on myself, then I get rebellious. Or I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah.
So I have to say not today. And I just continue to do that. And the opportunities that have presented themselves to me that I've taken advantage of, just keep coming. The longer I stay clean. I know I can go right back to that despair
Right.
anytime I want. It's always going to be there, but I don't have to now.
No. Yeah, I remember going to meetings and hearing somebody stand up and be like, yeah, I got 13 years sober. And I'd be like, yeah, right. There's no chance. It's just like a paid actor. It's just like someone trying to sell me a book and they're sending people here to be like, look what we could do. Yeah, I remember thinking there was no chance that was possible. But the reality is that it is possible. And, one of the things they say too is sometimes all it takes is like a mustard seed of faith.
Yes.
And then from there, it can blossom and bloom. Yeah. And it sounds like that was the case for you, going back to everything that you've gone through, not breaking, but maybe cracking a little bit for that mustard seed to be planted. And then for this beautiful rose of your life today to bloom. Because now, you're freaking out there. You're out there advocating for recovery. You're a walking, talking billboard for this thing. And it's beautiful to see, just to see you and who you are and how you show up for life in the lives that you touch. Here in Grand Junction, fucking everyone knows you. Everyone knows Danette.
I've been here for a long time.
Yeah. And they know that the work that you're doing. So tell me, how did you get started in working in recovery?
So when I lived in Oregon and I was doing my step work and meetings and sponsoring people, when I came back this is where I got in all my trouble here. So I didn't think I'd ever come back here to begin with, but I came back. I was all right. Working a regular job. We got laid off. And a friend of mine worked at Amos Counseling. And she said, hey, we're hiring for recovery coaches. And I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
She's like, basically, you're going to do the same thing that you always do. You're just
you're currently doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went and applied and went and took all the classes and certifications to be a certified family and peer specialist.
Okay.
Basically, not sponsor because we don't answer in the middle of the night, but like help people set goals and relate to their stories and go with them into the community, go to court with them, look for apartments with them. I even had people that had their own houses that I would come in and help them, pull out all the expired food, organize. So just every aspect of life, meditation, the gym, I got to work in and show them that, hey, and when they started talking about things that were horrible that happened to them, I could be like, hey, I've been there, I've done this, So being able to show that lived experience was vital in making the connections that I've made. Because nobody wants to hear how to get off drugs if you've never been on drugs. You don't want to take parenting classes from somebody who's never had a child.
Right.
The education part of it's great, but if you can do both of them, then it's even more
the two
successful.
For one. Yeah, Eric came on here and said that he can't go to a therapist who's not also in therapy themselves. And I was like, well, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah. And you are living proof of this work. And I think that's part of the reason why people relate so much to you and how you're able to be so great at what you do. What's the thing that keeps you on fire, keeps you going, motivated?
I know that the statistics say 2% of people will make it, but I have seen so many miracles in people that I have worked with go on to start their own businesses, go on to get into the same kind of work that get their kids back. You're always going to have loss, but if I can just leave somebody a little bit better off than when I found them, then it's worth it to me. And I went hard in my addiction. Why not go hard in my recovery? At this point, it doesn't feel like a job. It feels like walking in my purpose. So
like a calling.
yeah. So being able to support myself is just an added bonus. I would do this anyway. So, in fact, I was laid off for a while and in between jobs, and I still continued to show up for clients for like 8 months.
Yeah, you did.
So,
What's your vision for the future?
I would like to at some point start my own company, a recovery wellness center. Where people, addicts, can come and just support each other and work on every area of their life under the same roof. I have a lot of ideas in that area, but I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and get up as high as I can in the field.
And the purpose is to help others.
Yeah. Because every life, there's a saying I heard one time, and I've dealt with difficult people, but somebody told me, you'll never look into the eyes of somebody that Jesus doesn't love. And I thought, wow, it doesn't matter who you are, where you work, what car you drive, what addiction you have, what mental health issue you have. We have all been created for a purpose. And if I can at least help someone come to that, you start by getting clean. You start by loving yourself. You can't put faith in things right away because you don't want to detour people.
Right.
But when they're open to talk about it, or just look at you and say, how come you're happy? I have people tell me all the time, why are you happy all the time?
Right.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, hello.
I know.
And I just want to share with them that I could go from suicide, homicide, chaos in my life to pure happiness. And that's something that you can't attain.
Yeah.
No matter how much money you have.
No, it's you have it or you don't, but it's there and it's available really for everyone.
It is for everyone.
And I say that nobody is too far gone.
No.
I believe that anyone can recover.
Yeah.
Now there's a process and it's not going to be easy and it's fucking hard and you're going to stumble and you're going to fall and you're going to fail over and over and over again. But if you keep going and you stay the course, recovery is absolutely possible.
Yes.
For anyone. And we've seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, you are
I've seen it.
An example.
I've lived it.
Of that. So when I ask childhood trauma, abuse, rape, foster homes, running away, stripping, addiction, homelessness, catching cases, losing your kids, multiple suicide attempts. And then I sit here and ask you, like, how didn't you break?
God had other plans for me.
God had other plans for you.
And when I tapped into that, it gave me a strength to keep going. I didn't have it figured out yet. Obviously, I relapsed a couple times, but I just didn't give up.
I love that. And it's almost a light. I mean, say like everything happens for a reason, and how can you excuse like childhood abuse or brutal rape, domestic violence? Like, it's not an excuse. Those things are deplorable. But also, you are where you are today and you are who you are today and you're able to do the wonderful work that you are today in part because of the things that you went through.
I feel like all that did prepare me for where I'm at now because I can relate to so many people's stories. They tell me this happened to me or that happened to me. I'm like, yeah, hey, me too. And this is how I eventually coped with it. This is how I processed it. And this is where you can be. Like, I have peace in my heart. I don't have nightmares anymore. You process it. You surround yourself with support. Some people need a 12-step program. Some people don't. But, tap into that higher power, no matter what it is. I believe we all serve the same God, realistically. There's millions of different religions, but I'm more spiritual than I am religious. And when I tapped into that, I know it's available to everyone. And I just want to share that with people.
There's a great book that we know. The book says, your experience in your life will make you uniquely resourceful and helpful to others, right? And that's like part of this whole thing. And after hearing your story, and sharing what you've gone through and knowing where you are today. That's spot on. And I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on and being so vulnerable and open about your experience. I'm honored to call you a friend and a colleague. Working together has been great. And I'm really grateful that you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful to be working alongside you and going down this journey together. I can't wait to see what the future holds for Ava Health.
Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe to Brokenish podcast, Ava Health YouTube channel. Go check out the Instagram, Facebook. It's pretty cool too. No big deal, whatever. Appreciate you, Danette. And for all of you, stay tuned for the next episode of Brokenish. Later.
Thank you.